Hey, this is Dustin Prinz with JamPlay.com, and in this lesson I'm going to demonstrate to you guys a technique that I use to simulate a kick sound while I am playing a progression. So the technique that I like to imagine, and I've seen a lot of guitarists use it as well, a lot of fingerstyle guitarists, they kind of pump their wrist right above the bridge, like so. I tend to make the sound right here between the bridge and the sound hole, maybe even sometimes further this way, but right there tends to be the place where I get the best sound out of it, the warmest, biggest thump, if you will. So imagine, if you ride a bike, crotch rocket, or ice burner, or maybe a Harley. Imagine you're throttling up. That's all I ever do. So you throttle up, and you naturally get that kick sound with it, okay? In slow speeds, it's really evident that you're putting this motion into it. The faster that I get with the passage that I'm picking, I tend to use almost a good section of my arm. I just kind of hit it up here, and that's because at higher speeds my picking is coming more from the elbow than from the wrist. So it all depends on the context of the song, as usual, and the tempo that you're playing at. But for this particular demonstration, what we'll do to start things off is I'm going to show you how to incorporate the kick into the basic warm-up that we've gone over in the past on these video lessons, and then we're going to go through a little blues riff where I will demonstrate how to play that. So it's just the 1, 2, 3, 4 that I was telling you about. But instead of doing our parapicked percussion, let's just add a little bit of this in, and we can start really slow. That's all you're doing is just pumping that wrist. And when you get higher on the strings, there is the tendency to bring some of this higher percussive sound into there, and that's natural because you're stretching to hit these high strings. So you're getting a mixture of the kick sound as well as this high timbre percussive snare sound. So you can see how it kind of you pull that sound up into there. So you get really along these low strings. Along those low strings, it's really the kick sound is really defined, really present, okay? And then it starts to bleed a little bit and blend into the snare sound the higher you get. But a lot of the times on certain passages that I'm playing, if I'm really wanting to emphasize that kick sound, I stay in the lower region as far as the lower strings go. But once again, let's do that 1, 2, 3, 4 that we're very familiar with by this point, and let's add the kick into there. So and try to focus on the keep it close method too with your left hand as much as you can. So you're trying to keep those fingers as close to the frets as possible. As you can see, I'm also playing with the tips of my fingers more so than, my fingers aren't flat when I'm playing like this. I'm doing my best to keep them curled, and that way you're striking the strings with the tips of your fingers. And once again, this kick is happening, which I should have mentioned earlier, but I will now. I'm down picking as I'm pumping that wrist. So, all right, it's all in the motion. So you down pick, pump. I mean, and it works to your benefit because you're already making that motion. You're already down picking. You're just exaggerating it. And by exaggerating it, that's when you get the kick sound, because it's naturally thrusting the wrist into the body of the guitar. So slow down. Right now we're getting pretty slow here. And give it some help. You can really dig into it if you want to. And I tend to start at a low tempo. You know, if I'm in my, you know, before a show, I might start at like 70 BPM and just go slow and just stick with that, and then bump it up, like I said earlier, 4 to 6 BPM increments, and start with 1 and go all the way to 12. And then if you want to isolate certain regions of the fretboard, you can also just do like the E and the A string. So, all right. You can go all chicken wing with that, and do 4 to the floor. And when I start to get to those faster speeds as well, you notice that there's less of the throttle action, and there's more of my wrist is almost just in this fashion, and it's just kind of hitting. Because that's a pretty good clip. I mean, I don't have many songs where I'm like, check, 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 check. You know, people will just be more interested in the fact that I'm doing the chicken wing up here instead of actually the music that I'm trying to portray to them. So it's always about the song for me, and less about the technique, because people are more interested in the song, in the melody. But so for this, let's do it one more time. Let's slow things down. All right, right now it is throttling because we're at a slow tempo here. Ooh, that was a good one. All right, and then we're gonna speed it up. You can see that I'm not doing much throttling anymore. I'm just kind of hitting against the body of the guitar. So.